So Democratic Representative Jamie Raskin shocked. He is shocked that not everyone believes in their climate change scam, says the headline from Wall Street Ape's tweet. This is Democrat Jamie the Rascal Raskin.
How old is this?
I don't know how old this is.
Is this when his new head of ball hair grew in?
I think he got his hair back. He went through cancer treatment. And so good on him. He beat it, looks like, and he's got his hair back. Listen to this.
Congressman, welcome.
Senator.
Are you aware of the World Climate Declaration? There is no climate emergency. It's signed by now over 1,800 global scientists, professionals.
There is no climate emergency. It was.
Are you aware of that declaration?
I'm not aware of that one. I assume I'm aware. Familiar.
I entered in the record. I'd recommend you read it. I thought one of the
without objection, it will be entered into the record.
Well, I already did it, but we'll enter into this one too. I thought one of the interesting statements in there is the obvious that CO2 is plant food. If you want a green planet, you need some CO2. But anyway, you ought to take a look at that. You know, I'm by the way, I'm not a climate change denier. I'm just not a climate change alarmist like you and the chairman. I would call myself a climate change realist. In your testimony, you say, my watery home state of Maryland with more than 7,100 miles of coastline is strikingly vulnerable to the effects of climate change and the rising sea level. So that's one of the biggest alarms of the climate change, folks, is that the sea level will rise and just wipe out coastlines, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So are you aware of how much the sea...
And so my question always is, why do all billionaires have current oceanfront property? Why does Barack Obama just bought a new oceanfront? He's got it on Martha's Vineyard. He's got it in Hawaii on Maui. Why do all
He's really optimistic about green energy?
I guess he thinks we're going to turn this around.
Look, they predicted it was going to already happen 10 years ago and it didn't happen. Remember, everybody?
Yes,
I remember.
I remember.
And I was scared of it. And then much like Jehovah's Witnesses not getting it right, the end of the world, these assholes predicted even more.
Yes.
And they were wrong. So I don't care what the scientists signed. They don't know shit, it turns out.
They said there was going to be summers without any ice in the Arctic. You remember that?
Yeah, the last polar bear sitting alone.
They all said that.
And the only thing that receded was like pubic hair, and pubic lice went extinct.
So that ruins. So when I see all the billionaires telling me that I've got to buying oceanfront property, as they tell me that I got to ride electrical bikes in all weather while living in a storage container while eating the bugs that hit me in the face along the way. I believe in the future, just not their future. Okay?
Yeah, they had a future planned where you're going to eat bugs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Never believe in a billionaire's version of the future for you. It's never good for you. So let's get back to this. So what's this one? So remember, this is that Senator Ron Johnson, who everybody, including Stephen Colbert, said was a crazy cuckoo when it came when it came to vaccines and Wuhan lab and all that stuff. And it turns out he was right about all of it. So let's listen to what he has to say to Jamie Raskin about the idea that rising sea level is going to destroy all the coastline where all the billionaires live. Here we go.
Has risen in the Bay of San Francisco since the last glaciation period of, some 12 to 20,000 years ago, which is just a blink of the eye in geologic time. You know how much the sea level has risen in the Bay of San Francisco in that time period?
In the last 12,000 years, how much is the sea, which is, again, a blink of an eye in the lifetime of the world, how much has the sea level risen in the last 12,000 years? Now, let's remember, we didn't have carbon until the last 150 or 200 years. Us are extracting it and burning it for fuel. How much has the sea level risen in the last 12,000 years, which is a blink of an eye in the lifetime of the planet? Let's listen.
Not that one.
You want to just take a guess?
No,
he doesn't.
I'm not guessing very well today, so no.
It's 390 feet.
390 feet.
Do you think there's anything mankind could have done to prevent that sea level rise of 390 feet? Just, again, 20,000 years.
Well,
you think there's something we could do about that?
No.
That's the answer. No, there's nothing we could do.
So the sea level has risen 390 feet in the last, what did he say, 12 to 20,000 years? Is there anything human beings could have did about that, Jamie Raskin? No. But now we're going to do it to stop it from rising a foot?
But the computer models, Jimmy.
The computer models, Kurt.
Bill Nye, the science guy, again, not a scientist.
Not a scientist.
Science guy.
He
said all the latest computer models, which are worth about as much as some dipshit in a country church calculating the end of the world from where
That's
Adam
exactly
was born.
right.
They're worth the same as that. Nothing. Harold Camping is less of a loser than Jamie Raskin.
That's
Harold Camping, the guy that predicted the end of the world.
Yeah, remember that guy?
He's less of a loser than all the 98% of scientists.
That's right.
And that guy was a loser.
Yes. Oh, I didn't get a chance to play the John Kerry video of him alarming everybody about climate change at the last live show. Because it is bullshit. So I'm not, again, you can believe in carbon-created climate change. I just think you're a chump and a sucker if you believe any of the solutions that the establishment media that's owned by the billionaires who all have oceanfront property are telling you what the solution. We have to end Dutch farms. We have to get rid of gas-powered leaf blowers. Yeah. We all have to eat bugs.
That's religion, by the way. That's the new Vatican. That's the new.
I don't believe any of it.
Catholic means universal.
That's right. That's what Catholic means.
So I'm not saying the Catholic Church directly is responsible for anything. I'm saying they're trying to make a universal religion.
That is it.
You don't look at your eyes. That's a whatever sex I tell you, whatever political party.
They're not going to outlaw private jet travel. They're not going to say close down the 1,000 or so military bases that the United States has around the world. They admit to over 800, but we know a lot of them are secret. So it's around 1,000. And the number one organization that emits more carbon than any other organization is the U.S. military.
They don't seem concerned.
What is No, nobody ever seen. I never see John Kerry or Bill Gates or Greta Thunberg out there protesting the construction of a new military base, which we just built 2 in Syria. We built 3 in the Philippines, and I'm sure we're building them all over Africa. We just don't tell us.
Well, in fairness to Greta Thunberg, she's just a golem.
Yeah. So after living through Russiagate, after living through the Syria gas attacks hoax that we debunked, after living through Ukraine war, which is complete bullshit, after living through COVID and lockdowns and masks and experimental medical treatments, and all the lies that we've exposed on this show, there is no way that their solutions for climate change aren't a bunch of bullshit to control us. They are. And we all know that now, we don't, but we know at this show, and all the people who actually run things know, that recycling is a hoax. That they don't recycle any of that shit you're putting in recycle things. They don't recycle. Most of the stuff you are recycling. You're separating your garbage. Well, they're not.
Well, some homeless might be.
They're not separating it.
You might separate it for them to cash in, but
glass bottles. Yeah. Glass bottles.
Hey,
remember that when I was a kid, I used to go around collecting glass bottles. I would go to knock on people's doors and say, "Hey, do you have any bottles you don't want?" And they would give it to us, and I would take it to the store, and they would give us a dime a bottle. A dime a bottle.
Oh, that's cool.
I would make money as a kid. That's how we would make money.
Well, that's back when the recycling swastika used to mean something.
Yeah, you could recycle glass bottles. They're plastic. They're not recycling it. You're a chump. And so I'm going to make sure I'm not a chump over this climate change. I'm not getting an electric stove. I'm not getting an electric car. Because if they really thought those things, they would outlaw private jet travel, which has been exploding over the last 10 years, by the way. Yeah. Exploding.
We're not going to cut
costs. There are more private jets than there are commercial jets.
No, we can't spare all the carbon. We're going to cut costs starting with your meager, just like they do with your wages.
That's right.
We're going to cut the cost with you. How about let's burn the whole fucking thing down
And
until you lose your jet, motherfucker?
And they've already said
I'm yelling at you.
they already said that the WEF that regular people won't be able to travel. Of course, rich people will, and regular people will have to eat bugs. Except for rich people are going to eat meat.
Yeah, it's weird. Like someone's deliberately trying to deindustrialize the entire Western world.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with America, and you're a chump because you believe in the shell company that you live in. That's what it kind of feels like to
That's what
me.
it kind of feels like.
And there's Tic Tacs flying around. They tell you a little bit about.
Yes.
We don't know who has a Tic
We
Tac.
don't know who was a Tic Tac.
Well, and then, so people that are not dumb, the smart people go, that's not an alien. That's probably our tech. Wait, that's our technology? Why are you yelling about gas then?
Yeah.
Why are you saying anything about greenhouse when you got flying Tic Tacs, fuckface? So there's no way any of this is the truth. Whatever the hell, I'm not saying what the big secret story is. I'm just saying they ain't telling it to you, and don't listen to the one they are telling you.
Do people say Russell Brand is right wing too? They said, I know they say that about Glenn Greenwald. So if you debunked Russiagate, they call you a Trumper.
Look, if you think that you're a programmed fucking life form, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not going to qualify anything I say to comfort you. If you're that much of a fuckwit, where you're still getting on there, that's right, that's left wing. If you're still doing this like Crips versus Bloods bullshit, you're a child. I don't know why you can vote at all, because mentally you are underage. People think that,
it's just as silly as people who think that Joe Biden is a Marxist.
Yeah.
As he crushes unions.
So stupid.
As he crushes unions.
Yo, go watch a football game, dum-dum. Just so you know, you're the same. Don't ever look down on a sports guy who don't vote. But there's a lot of sports people who do vote.
Yeah.
And I look at them lower than a sports guy who doesn't vote, because it's the same nonsense. It's just some ritual they gave you, and it don't mean shit. I'm sorry if it hurts you to hear it, but it should be obvious to you now that you live in clown world.
I just hope I can get some good jokes out of it.
I'm getting great jokes. Dude, I have never had so much fun.
Over to
on
Steph.
the road. Ever during this apocalypse, because comedy does better when times are bad for you, the working man. For you, I want it to be better.
I enjoy meeting the people. We do meet and greets.
Me too.
I really enjoy meeting people.
That's when you find out.
I enjoy doing the shows too. Don't get me wrong; they're fun. I can't believe how in it people are into it.
Yeah, because you're not running for nothing. They're coming to just look. Here's what everybody misses. You pay for a service and get the goddamn service. The end. Okay. And so now everything has been converted into like, I have to worship a false idol. I can't just have us. We need to be eternally locked together for Rite Aid and me have to have a relationship forever now, right? Like everything's changing where it's going to be rentals and downloads, and you don't own nothing. The whole you don't own things is really like taken off in a big way. So people really appreciate someone just showing up who's not trying to get anything except what they paid. They paid to get a thing, and they just get that, and they appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate it. When I just paid for a thing and got it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, man.
Well, people, when they come to our shows, we do 2 hours. So Steph does a half hour, and then I do 90 minutes, and I don't mean to. I want to just do an hour. I used to give Chris Titus a hard time because he would do 90 minutes. He does 90-minute specials even. And I'm like, that's 30 minutes too long. But here I am. I'm doing 90 minutes, and people love it.
Yeah, well, if you get, like I said, it's a free exchange of goods and it's a thing that you're supposed to do where you like what you got, and the majority of people like what they paid for, and it's not like the disappointment of government.
Speaking of that, we'll see. Oh, let me do this.
That's why you don't want to link everything to the government, because or link religion. I used to be like separation of church and state, which I'm for that, but it didn't occur to me that we needed a separation of corporation and state that we didn't get.
That's right.
So now instead of there being a trinity of the church and the corporation state, it's just corporate and state.
It's a corporate state.
We actually lost democracy by kicking the stupid church out. It's unbelievable. Every time everybody falls for this
shit. Isn't that funny? That's a funny way to look at it. You're right. We need a separation between corporations and state.
Yes.
Just as much as we need a separation between religion and state.
Instead, they formed an entity and they separate you from yourself. You need to have your right and left brain split in half, and that's what they talk about, atomization, right?
So put the go full screen on Kurt. I'm going to show you something. Go. I want to show you something I found today, Kurt, that speaks exactly to what you're talking about. Okay, let me just hang on. I'll put it in here. This is from my buddy, Carl Jung. So this is what Kurt's talking about. Listen to this. Come to me. Take Kurt off. It says, this is from Carl Jung. The mass state has no intention of promoting mutual understanding and the relationship of man to man. It strives rather for atomization, for the psychic isolation of the individual. The more unrelated individuals are, the more consolidated the state becomes.
Consolidated, yeah.
Consolidated, and vice versa.
It becomes flesh. They drain you like a vampire. They drain you like a vampire, and then the state becomes the entity. You understand?
Yes. That's what I just read.
That's why a golem unmakes you.
The Undiscovered Self, which I wanted to read with RFK, and I should have. I dropped the ball. He agreed to read it with me, and I got too busy. But I did read it.
Not too late.
And it's not too late. It says the mass state. I bet you this is right from that book. The mass state has no intention of promoting mutual understanding and the relationship of man to man. It strives for atomization, for the psychic isolation of the individual. The more unrelated individuals are, the more consolidated the state becomes, and vice versa. Wow. What do you, wow, huh?
Listen, why is there still such a thing as royalty at all, anywhere? Why do people love that? So, like, I know Disney sucks now, but just so you know, it was always vile and evil. The whole time, before they injected all the queer things you don't like, it was also evil then. And why are you telling kids they're a prince or a princess? Why are they still pushing this shit? Because it's bloodline bullshit, the divine right of kings. Some people are just better than the other people. They're never going to stop trying to sell you that.
And what Chomsky kind of figured out by studying the media is this. So he talks about in Manufacturing Consent.
Show the clip again.
He talks about that the media is there to make you feel isolated, that no one else is thinking the thoughts you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so
you can see it.
And so that helps. And the more you feel like that, the more consolidated the state becomes.
Right. Well,
and the state and the corporate media is. Then the internet did fuck that up.
They thought
and social
it would make
media,
it stronger, but it backfired.
And it started to backfire.
And they can repress it all they want, but I don't think whoever's bright idea this was for control, you can see the panic as they realize it's out of their hands.
Most of my old comedy friends, assholes on fucking Facebook, they believe when Facebook sticks a factcheck.org thing on one of my videos, they believe it.
Oh, wow.
They don't know that factcheck.org is funded by Johnson & Johnson.
Right. Well,
they don't know that.
Problem? That's a successful company.
Why would that be a problem? It's called the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. You know who that is? That's Johnson & Johnson.
No, I don't even look into it.
The people who put asbestos in baby powder.
Well, they had it. I mean, they don't. Now it's all cleaned up. Yeah, so, they used to do stuff.
Because they put fact check in their name. Every asshole I started comedy with on Facebook believes it.
Yeah.
All right, over to stuff.
There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, the babies that have been murdered, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, money poor people. This government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. We don't really know what war is, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison, but they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators, and they're going to have riots on their hands. They're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. We have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating what we need, what needs to be done. And, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. Don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, this system and those backing the officials running the system, want people to believe that revolution means violence, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. When people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. They get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it, then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, you know, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. You know, every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. You know, men, women, and children were murdered. And not just move babies, you know. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers? I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, you know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit